While the global industrial giants like Tesla, BYD, and Hyundai were funneling staggering billions of dollars into the frantic race for electric vehicle supremacy, a legendary player from Japan was quietly preparing a move that would catch the entire world off guard. For years, the narrative pushed by Silicon Valley and the emerging Chinese tech giants was simple. The internal combustion engine is a relic of the past, and the only path forward is pure battery power. We saw massive investments in lithium-ion technology, a frantic scramble to build charging networks across entire continents, and a marketing blitz designed to convince every driver on Earth that their next car must be a plug-in EV. However, in the midst of this electric fever, Honda made an unexpected and highly strategic move that has sent shockwaves through the global market. They didn't just build another car. They developed an entirely new type of propulsion system that has experts asking a haunting question. Has Honda actually created something that will make the multi-billion-dollar EV industry think twice? Is the dream of a battery-only future suddenly in jeopardy because of a machine that doesn't need a charging station? This is no ordinary mechanical upgrade. What Honda has unleashed is being described by engineers as a true hybrid beast of the future, a machine that captures the raw, reliable power of petrol and marries it to the legendary economy and smoothness of electric vehicles. It represents a paradigm shift in how we think about transportation because it targets the very heart of consumer anxiety. For the average driver, the transition to a pure EV has always been clouded by a dark cloud of worries. People are terrified of being stranded in the middle of a highway searching for a charging station that might be broken or occupied. They are worried about the astronomical costs of battery replacements that can sometimes exceed the value of the car itself. Honda looked at these fears and decided to build a bridge rather than a barrier. This is why the industry is buzzing with tension. Should Elon Musk be losing sleep? Is BYD about to watch its market share erode? This story is about more than just metal and fuel. It is about a revolutionary approach that could disrupt the entire trajectory of the EV industry for decades to come. To truly understand the weight of Honda's move, we have to look back at the state of the world just a few years ago. Every major automotive manufacturer was in a state of absolute frenzy, trying to prove that they were more electric than their rivals. We saw Tesla soaring to unbelievable heights in the stock market, while BYD in China was manufacturing millions of battery cells to feed a global hunger for green tech. Even traditional powerhouses like MG and Hyundai were pivoting their entire assembly lines to focus on range enhancements and software-driven battery management. But as the hype grew, so did the cracks in the foundation. The reality of the EV experience began to hit home for many. The hassle of long charging times, the degradation of batteries over time, the massive loss of range in cold winter climates, and the sheer infrastructure gap in many countries made it clear that the world wasn't as ready for an all-electric transition as the marketers claimed. Especially in developing nations or regions with extreme weather, the pure EV was proving to be a luxury with too many strings attached. In this climate of growing frustration, Honda didn't just observe these weaknesses. They analyzed them with surgical precision. They understood a fundamental truth that the rest of the industry seemed to ignore. People love the idea of an electric car, but they absolutely loathe the inconveniences associated with them. They want the quiet, torque-heavy pull of an electric motor, but they refuse to plan their entire life around a charging plug. Honda's philosophy was clear and bold. The future of transportation shouldn't force people to change their lives. The technology should seamlessly fit into the lives they already lead. With this guiding principle, Honda shifted its entire strategic weight back toward a highly advanced form of hybrid technology. They realized that the electric versus petrol debate was a false binary. By combining the strengths of both, they could eliminate the charging anxiety that was holding the market back. Honda's decision was backed by a massive legacy of trust and reliability. Today, Honda stands as one of the world's most respected automotive forces, selling nearly 4 million vehicles annually. In the United States alone, their sales consistently cross the 1 million mark, while in markets like India, Japan, Thailand, and Indonesia, Honda is a household name synonymous with longevity. When Honda speaks, the market listens. By focusing on hybrids, they weren't admitting defeat to the EV. They were providing a more intelligent, more durable alternative for the real world. They realized that in many parts of the globe, people simply cannot install high-speed chargers in their homes because they live in apartments or areas with limited parking. They noticed that in places where electricity is expensive or the power grid is unstable, a pure EV is more of a liability than an asset. Honda's response was to refine the hybrid until it felt exactly like an EV but functioned with the ease of a traditional car. Over the past decade, Honda has been quietly perfecting this system, battle-testing it in models like the Honda City, the Accord, and the CR-V. These vehicles prove to the public that you could have an electric-feeling drive, instant acceleration, and a silent cabin, without ever needing to look for a plug. The fuel economy they achieved was nothing short of miraculous, with some models delivering record-breaking mileage that rivaled the operating costs of a pure EV when you factored in the price of electricity and the time lost to charging. This wasn't just a win for the consumer's wallet. It was a psychological victory. Honda had found a way to give the people what they wanted without the battery tax that came with it. The secret sauce of this revolution is Honda's new HEV system, which isn't just a simple engine upgrade. It is a complete, sentient energy management system. It acts like a digital brain that is constantly communicating with every part of the vehicle, deciding in real time when to use petrol and when to engage the electric motor. It is as if you have two expert drivers under the hood working in perfect synchronization to deliver the most efficient drive possible. To grasp the genius of this system, you have to visualize three core components: a highly efficient petrol engine, a high-torque electric motor, and a compact, lightweight battery pack. Unlike the massive, heavy, and incredibly expensive batteries found in Teslas or BYDs, Honda's hybrid battery is small and self-sufficient. It never needs to be plugged into a wall because the car acts as its own power station, charging the battery while you drive, coast, or brake. This eliminates the need for charging infrastructure entirely, making it the perfect vehicle for a world that is still decades away from having a charger on every corner. When you are crawling through heavy city traffic or waiting at a signal, the car operates in pure electric mode, consuming 0 drops of petrol and emitting 0 noise. But the moment you hit the open highway and need to overtake a truck, the petrol engine wakes up instantly, joining forces with the electric motor to provide a dual power boost that leaves other cars in the dust. This teamwork ensures that the driver never feels that power lag, often associated with older hybrids. Furthermore, the system utilizes regenerative braking, where the kinetic energy usually lost as heat during braking is captured and fed back into the battery. It's essentially free energy, recycled by the car itself. This unique architecture, where the petrol engine often acts as a generator rather than a direct drive for the wheels, allows the car to maintain the smooth, linear acceleration of an EV while always having a backup plan in the fuel tank. This is Honda's silent strike, a practical, powerful, and profoundly smart solution to a problem the rest of the world was trying to solve with brute force and expensive batteries. While the flashy advertisements for pure electric vehicles often paint a picture of a seamless, high-tech utopia, the seasoned engineers at Honda knew that the reality for the average global citizen was far more complicated and prone to frustration. They identified 3 massive, looming shadows over the EV industry that no amount of Silicon Valley marketing could truly hide: the agonizing wait times for charging, the terrifyingly high cost of long-term battery degradation, and the crippling loss of performance in cold climates. Honda's new hyper-hybrid engine wasn't designed just to be another alternative. It was engineered specifically as a surgical strike against these 3 fundamental flaws. By understanding these pain points at a molecular level, Honda has managed to create a driving experience that offers all the electric thrills without any of the electric chills. This is the core of their disruption, and it's why the traditional EV giants are now looking over their shoulders with genuine concern. Let's dive deep into the first and perhaps most soul-crushing problem for any modern driver: the charging trap. Even in our hyper-connected, high-speed world, the act of charging an EV remains a primitive and time-consuming chore compared to the 5-minute petrol refill. Imagine the stress of a professional who is late for a critical board meeting or a parent rushing an injured child to the hospital, only to realize their battery is at 5%. In a pure EV, you are at the mercy of the grid. Even with the most expensive, fast chargers, you are looking at a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes of downtime, assuming the charger isn't broken or occupied by another frustrated driver. If you are stuck with a standard home charger, your vehicle is essentially a high-tech paperweight for the next 8 to 12 hours. Honda looked at this logistical nightmare and simply said, no. Their new hybrid system completely eliminates the need for a plug. You don't need to hire an electrician to tear up your garage floor for a charging station, and you never have to plan your road trips around a map of charging icons. The Honda engine is its own power plant. It generates its own electricity while you cruise down the highway, and when the battery gets low, the petrol engine takes over the heavy lifting seamlessly. You never stop, you never slow down, and you never have to wait in a dark parking lot for a green light on your dashboard. This is the ultimate user-friendly technology because it demands nothing from the driver except to drive. The second massive obstacle that Honda has effectively dismantled is the economic time bomb of battery degradation. Every single person who has ever owned a smartphone knows that after 2 or 3 years, the battery simply isn't what it used to be. In the world of EVs, this isn't just a minor inconvenience. It is a financial catastrophe. A pure EV battery is not a cheap component. It is the most expensive part of the vehicle, often accounting for nearly 40 to 50% of the car's total manufacturing cost. As these lithium-ion cells go through thousands of charge and discharge cycles, their chemistry begins to break down. Eventually, your 300-mile range car becomes a 150-mile range car, and the only solution is a battery replacement that can cost upwards of $15,000. For a middle-class family, that isn't a repair bill. That's the price of a whole new car. Honda's hybrid system approaches this problem with extreme intelligence. Because the battery in a Honda hybrid is much smaller and is constantly being managed by a dual-motor system, it is never subjected to the extreme stress and heat soaking that kills pure EV batteries. One motor is dedicated entirely to maintaining the battery's health and charging state, ensuring it stays within its sweet spot of operation. This means a Honda hybrid battery can last for the entire lifespan of the vehicle, 10, 15, even 20 years, without the owner ever worrying about a 5-figure repair bill. It's a sustainable, long-term financial strategy that makes the buy and throw away cycle of modern electronics look obsolete. Then, there is the winter crisis, a problem that has left thousands of EV owners stranded in snowy regions. It is a scientific fact that lithium-ion batteries loathe the cold. When the temperature drops below freezing, the internal resistance of the battery skyrockets, and the energy density plummets. In places like Northern Europe, Canada, or the American Midwest, an EV that promises 300 miles in the summer might only give you 150 miles in the dead of winter. This range anxiety becomes a survival anxiety when you realize that using the car's heater, which is also powered by that same struggling battery, drains your remaining range even faster. Honda's hybrid system laughs at the snow. When the sensors detect a drop in temperature that would cripple a pure battery, the petrol engine steps up and takes full responsibility for moving the car and heating the cabin. The waste heat from the engine, which is usually lost to the atmosphere, is recycled to keep the passengers warm and the battery at an optimal temperature. Whether it is a blistering summer in the desert or a sub-zero blizzard in the mountains, a Honda hybrid performs with the same rock-solid reliability. This makes it the only practical choice for anyone living outside of a sunny, temperate coastal city. But Honda's genius doesn't stop at solving technical problems. It extends to the smart integration of energy. One of the most fascinating features of this new engine is its advanced regenerative thinking. Most cars lose an incredible amount of energy every time the driver hits the brakes. It just turns into useless heat on the brake pads. Honda's system captures that kinetic energy and transforms it back into high-voltage electricity, storing it in the battery for later use. It's like getting a tiny refund on your fuel every time you slow down for a red light. And because the system is completely automated, the driver doesn't have to navigate complex menus or toggle through eco modes to make it work. The car's onboard computer is making thousands of calculations per second, deciding when to shut off the engine to save fuel, when to use the motor for a silent getaway, and when to combine both for a burst of overtaking power. This level of invisible tech is what defines a true masterpiece of engineering. It doesn't brag about its complexity. It just delivers a smooth, powerful, and incredibly efficient ride every single time you turn the key. Furthermore, Honda has addressed the infrastructure gap that still plagues much of the world. In developing nations, rural areas, or even crowded urban centers in India and Southeast Asia, the idea of a universal charging network is still a distant dream. There are millions of people who live in high-rise apartments without dedicated parking spots where a charger could be installed. For these people, an EV is not an option, it is an impossibility. Honda's hybrid engine provides a green solution that requires zero new infrastructure. It uses the existing global network of petrol stations, but it uses them half as often. It brings the benefits of electric torque and reduced emissions to the village, the small town, and the crowded city alike. By bypassing the need for a multi-trillion-dollar charging grid, Honda has effectively democratized future tech and made it available to everyone, right now. This isn't just a win for Honda, it's a win for practical environmentalism. It's a reminder that the best technology isn't the one that requires the world to change, but the one that changes the world from within. Finally, we have to look at the user experience of driving a Honda HEV. Unlike older hybrids that felt sluggish or made a strange rubber band noise when you accelerated, the new Honda system is tuned for driving pleasure. Because the electric motor provides instant, maximum torque from 0 RPM, the car feels incredibly punchy and responsive in city traffic. When you transition to the highway, the petrol engine engages through a high-tech direct-drive clutch, providing a linear, connected feel that car enthusiasts actually enjoy. There is no confusion, no clunky gear shifts, and no lag. It is a seamless flow of power that makes you forget you are driving one of the most complex machines on the road. Honda has successfully managed to hide the complexity and reveal the capability. They have proven that you don't need a massive battery to have a massive impact. This is the quiet attack that has the EV industry worried, because once people realize they can have the EV feel without the EV baggage, the choice becomes very easy. Honda has consolidated decades of racing heritage and engineering discipline into a single, compact system that is ready to take on the world, 1 mile at a time. When a potential car buyer stands on a dealership floor, the excitement of new technology often fades the moment they look at the bottom line of the sales contract. This is precisely where Honda's new hyper-hybrid engine delivers its most devastating blow to the pure electric vehicle market. In the high-stakes world of automotive sales, the upfront cost remains the ultimate barrier for millions of middle-class families. To purchase a high-quality, long-range EV from a reputable brand like Tesla or BYD, a consumer is often looking at a price tag ranging from $40,000 to over $60,000. This is a massive financial commitment that many people simply cannot justify, especially when the vehicle comes with so many infrastructure ifs. On the other hand, Honda has positioned its HEV hybrid lineup, including the Civic, Accord, and CR-V, at a significantly lower price point. You are effectively getting 90% of the electric driving experience, the silent cabin, the instant torque, and the smooth acceleration, at a fraction of the initial investment. This makes the decision for a rational consumer almost instantaneous. Why go into massive debt for a battery that might become obsolete in 5 years when you can own a refined, world-class hybrid today? But the savings don't stop at the showroom door. They extend into the hidden costs of ownership that EV manufacturers rarely mention in their glossy brochures. Consider the home charging setup. For a pure EV, you often need to spend between $1,000 and $3,000 just to install a Level 2 fast charging station in your garage, involving expensive electrical work, permits, and wiring. Then there is the rising cost of electricity itself, which in many parts of the world is no longer as cheap as it once was. Honda's hybrid system completely bypasses these hidden expenses. Because the car charges itself while you drive, your charging cost is zero. Your installation cost is zero. You simply drive the car as you always have, but with a petrol bill that is nearly half of what a traditional car would demand. This is a practical, immediate economic win for the consumer that doesn't require them to change their lifestyle or their home's electrical panel. The most terrifying financial risk of owning a pure EV, however, is the battery replacement nightmare. In an EV, the battery is not just a component, it is half the value of the entire machine. If that battery fails out of warranty, or if its performance drops below a usable level, a replacement can cost between $10,000 and $20,000. In many cases, the cost of a new battery is higher than the resale value of the car itself, making the vehicle essentially disposable. Honda has engineered its hybrid system to avoid this financial trap entirely. Because the hybrid battery is smaller and is never subjected to the high-voltage stress charging that kills EV cells, its lifespan is dramatically longer. Honda's system shares the workload between the petrol engine and the electric motor so intelligently that the battery is never overworked. It is protected, managed, and pampered by the car's software, ensuring it remains reliable for the entire life of the vehicle. This gives Honda owners a peace of mind that no Tesla owner can truly claim. The knowledge that their car will still be a valuable asset 10 years from now, not a high-tech paperweight. Maintenance is another area where Honda's silent strike manifests. Critics of hybrids often point to the complexity of having both an engine and a motor, claiming it leads to higher service costs. But the reality is quite the opposite. Because the electric motor handles the heavy lifting of stop-and-go city traffic, the petrol engine suffers significantly less wear and tear. It operates at its most efficient RPM, avoids the cold start stress of city driving, and requires fewer oil changes and repairs over its lifetime. Furthermore, Honda's global service network is already in place. Whether you are in a major city in the United States or a small town in rural India, there is a Honda service center nearby with parts that are affordable and technicians who know exactly how to fix the machine. Compare this to the authorized service desert of many EV startups, where a simple fender bender or a sensor glitch can leave your car in a repair shop for months while you wait for proprietary parts to arrive from overseas. Honda has combined the reliability of their legendary petrol history with the efficiency of the future, creating a machine that is as easy to maintain as it is to drive. Honda's market game plan is a classic example of slow and deep striking. While competitors were holding massive, loud press conferences and making grand, unrealistic promises about all-electric by 2030, Honda was working quietly in the background. They chose not to engage in the hype war. They didn't feel the need to tweet every minor update or create artificial social media buzz. Instead, they focused on one thing: perfecting the technology until it was undeniably superior in real-world conditions. They knew that the world wasn't fully ready for a total EV transition, not the power grids, not the charging networks, and certainly not the consumers' wallets. By refining their hybrid HEV system over the last 7 to 8 years, Honda was building a practical bridge to the future. They allowed other companies to spend billions educating the public about electric motors. And then Honda stepped in with a product that offered the same motor but without the battery headache. It was a brilliant, predatory move that has now forced the entire industry to pivot back toward hybrids. Looking ahead to 2030 and beyond, the automotive landscape will likely be a three-way battle between pure EVs, advanced hybrids, and hydrogen fuel cells. Honda is playing the long game by being a leader in all three, but they have correctly identified that hybrids are the right-now solution. Their entire international lineup, from the nimble Jazz and Fit to the rugged CR-V and the sophisticated Accord, is being transitioned to this new hyper-hybrid engine. They are providing an option for every type of driver: the urban commuter, the long-distance traveler, the family on a budget, and the tech enthusiast. They have turned the EV race in a different direction, one where practical needs, affordability, and real-world durability are put first. Honda didn't make a fuss, but their quiet move has become the biggest turning point in the industry. They have proven that value always wins over hype, and that the best way to predict the future is to build a better version of the present. As the world realizes that pure EVs aren't the only way to be green, Honda stands ready to lead the charge, without ever needing a plug.